Hey, how's it going, students? Hope you're enjoying this year so far. It's Pastor Kelly here, and let's talk about something that's really important. It's one of your values, and it's the value of forgiveness. So let me start with a couple of questions. Any of you guys have siblings? If you don't, you can just sit back and relax. That's cool. But if you do, here's the second question. Do you think that your siblings are the coolest, like best friends ever? If so, that's cool. And here's another question. Who here finds their siblings, now tell the truth now, quite annoying? Tell the truth. I tell you what, I love my siblings, but sometimes, just sometimes, they can be just a little bit annoying. But yeah, at the end of the day, a sibling rivalry is real and it's normal. Does the Bible talk about sibling rivalry? Well, in fact, it does. The Bible talks about a Bible character most of us know as Joseph. And now I'm not going to go through the whole story, but whether you are familiar with the story of Joseph or whether you're not, it's all good. But we can take definitely a page from the story of Joseph. And here's just a small condensed version of it. In the book of Genesis, chapter 37, Joseph is 17 years old. Now, that's probably the same age as some of you guys. He's good looking, he's fit, he has all sorts of dreams and visions, and he's kind of like dad's favorite. And lastly, he's got a set of interesting brothers. Joseph has a dream, and at the end of this dream, it actually reveals Joseph being in charge of his brothers. And on top of that, Jacob, who's Joseph's dad, pretty much makes him a coat, not just an ordinary coat. He makes this really flamboyant, detailed, embroidered coat, pretty much a really flash coat. Now, any sibling would be annoyed knowing that one of your good-looking younger brothers is kind of placed above everyone else as the chosen one. And not only does he have a flash coat from his dad, he reveals his dream to a dream that he's going to be the boss of you. Now, if you disagree with how things are today in a family setting, you would probably talk about it around a dinner table. Or if it was something personal, you would probably say, Mom, Dad, could we have a family discussion? But the Bible tells us when his brothers realized that their dad loved Joseph more than them, they grew to hate him. They wouldn't even speak to him. So they set out a plan, a vicious plan. Not only was it going to hurt Dad's feelings and the rest of the family, the whole idea was to destroy their brother Joseph and eliminate him from the family line. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty ruthless. So basically, the Bible tells us they spotted him off in the distance, and by the time he got to them, they had cooked up a plot to kill him. The brothers were saying, here comes that dreamer. Let's kill him and throw him into one of these old cisterns. Now, basically, what's a cistern? A cistern is like an underground container where they used to store water. So it's not a really pleasant place to be. But their plot was to say that a vicious animal ate him up. That's basically it. That was their plan. And basically, they would just brutally injure him and sell him to foreigners, and then report back to Dad and say that he was dead. And that's what exactly happened. You know, Dad was distraught, was in a deep state of sadness, obviously. And yeah, now to read through the whole Joseph experience is something you could look into, just read through that whole account in Genesis. But to fast forward to where he actually ended up it's an amazing journey of faith. Joseph actually ended up in Egypt, of all places. He was a slave and a prisoner for many years. But his ability to dream, the certain gift that he had to interpret dreams, was recognized by Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the top guy. So it was so recognized by Pharaoh that to the point where Joseph himself was promoted into a position of power. they said, to the point of kind of like the prime minister of the land. Now, fast forward, Joseph had gone through so much throughout his life, and word got to Joseph from his father years later, before his father died. His words before Jacob died were, "Tell Joseph, forgive your brother's sin, all their wrongdoings. They did treat you badly, but please, will you forgive their sins?" And when this word came back to Joseph, the Bible tells us that he wept. And the Bible tells us at this point, the brothers went to see him in person, and they threw themselves on the ground before him and said, "Joseph, we'll be your slaves." They were really apologetic. And Joseph replied, "Don't be afraid. Do I act for God? Don't you see, you planned evil against me, but God used those same plans for my good." And then he says, "Easy now, nothing to fear. I'll take care of you and your children." And he reassured them, speaking with them heart to heart with love and kindness. Students, here's the bottom line. Although Joseph got treated so cruel and so mean from his brothers, he found a deep, deep place in his heart to forgive them. It's not easy, but it's the best way forward. Students, Joseph's attitude of forgiveness is identical to that of Jesus. And although we mess up, we fail, we always fall short, the Bible tells us in Romans chapter 5, verse 8, God demonstrates his love through this. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. The power of forgiveness is a gift from God. And here's a couple of practical tips before we close. Number one, look at others through God's eyes. Have you ever tried putting on someone's reading glasses? I've done that a few times. Things are a bit different when you put them on. And sometimes we need to put on the Jesus glasses and to realize there is no sin too big for God. He is a God who always forgives. And number two, take time to pause and pray. Take time to get away from the noise and tell God to help you receive love and kindness in your heart for that particular person or persons. This can only be achieved by deep reflection. So take time to pause and pray. So number one, look at others through God's eyes. And number two, something as basic as just to pause and pray. Hey, love spending time with you all. Hope you got something from the word. God bless you all and stay safe.